Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a tutorial on how to do these ink blended balloons. I've had a lot of requests for a video and tutorial, so that is what we are going to do today. However, before we get into that, we are going to look at these brand new blender brushes that I got from Tailored Expressions, and they are just so much fun. I absolutely adore these brushes. I always get so much better result with ink blending from blender brushes than I do from the original, like, old-fashioned foam pads. So these have been a complete game changer for me. And just because I love the caddy they come in, we're gonna have a look at that spin again. Whee! Yeah, I love these, in case that wasn't obvious. The brushes themselves are each color coordinated, so you'll use one color per ink color family. The bristles are white and really tightly packed and so soft. Really nice. And we're going to jump ahead a little bit here now because we're going to use the stencil from Neat and Tangled called Balloon Duo Stencil. And as always, when I do ink blending these days, I am going to use my pixie spray. This stuff is brilliant. It just, yeah, I really like it. I'm a big fan. So, but this stuff you need to spray on first, and then you need to let it like set or cure for a few minutes. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, so this is a card that I made with a previous panel, and so we are going to look at some ink colors, and the inks that we are going to use today are all Distress Oxide inks from Ranger. And we're definitely going to be using Squeezed Lemonade, Wild Honey, and the Carved Pumpkin. Now, I did show Abandoned Coral as well, but that one did not end up getting used on this particular card. Right, so now that the pixie spray has cured and it's actually sticking to the panel, we are sticking that down, but we're also, and by we, of course, I mean I, it's all me, we're using a little bit of Post-it tape to make sure that everything stays in place. And we're also going to be using a little bit of Post-it tape to make sure that no ink goes where it's not supposed to go. Right. So for our first balloons, we're going to do some yellows. And the lightest color of the yellow that I got is the Squeezed Lemonade. And then we're going to move on to Wild Honey, which is, it looks really orange here, but it's actually more of a really dark yellow. And for the yellow, we're using a yellow brush. Right. So now the actual process of how I made these is really quite simple, but it's quite painstaking, so it does take a little bit of time. So you start with your lightest color, and we are gonna dab on the ink pad, and then we're gonna tap off a little bit of the excess. So dab, and then tap, although I didn't tap there. And then with small circular movements, we are gonna go around the edges. And don't despair if it looks like there's hardly any ink going on your paper. With this style, it's better to go slow and build up your color gradually. But because we only have a certain amount of time, we are going to speed things up. So here we go, lots of dab and rub, and you can finally see that the color is starting to build up a little bit around here, so we're getting our shape sorted out. And in the middle, we are leaving it completely white because this yellow is so light. And a little bit more dab and rub. We will be coming back to this one because I realized after finishing it that it just wasn't popping enough. But here you can see it's starting to build up. And we're going to move on to our second balloon. And there is a little chica saying hello, or probably give me food now. Right, so we're starting with a light layer of squeezed lemonade on this one because it's going to be a darker yellow balloon. So a light layer. And then we are going to hop in right away with the wild honey. And what we're doing is slowly, again, just building up the color around the edges to give it that 3D look and the contours and the highlights. And we're going to speed this up again because, like I said, this is a very, very slow process. To get the look that we want, it does take quite a while. I must have spent easily 5 to 10 minutes on each balloon to get it just right. So this is definitely not something that you're going to want to do if you are in a hurry and need to make a card quickly. The upside with doing these time lapse is that you see quickly how the color, how it changes the look of the balloon. Because this is what we want. We want it to kind of get much darker at the bottom and really sort of give it that shape, but then still stay light in the middle. Right, so we're going to go in with a little bit more of squeezed lemonade because this is at the point where I realized, oh, this one is really pale and it's just really not popping at all. Now, it did take me a little while, but I realized that I wasn't really getting where I wanted with squeezed lemonade. So I called in the help of my other little yellow friend, Mustard Seed. And that really took it up a notch. This is really gorgeous yellow. Again, it looks really orange, but it's not. Now you can see almost immediately just what a difference it makes adding that second color. And this is something that I should have remembered really when I did it the first time, is that you use at a minimum 2 colors on each balloon. So one to give it that really soft look, and then you use a darker one to give it the contrast and the outline. It really does make a difference. Just play around with this and have a great time and just see what works for you, which color combinations you like. And yeah, just play with it. Now I have just quickly rubbed off some of the excess mustard seed because I'm going to go in with a little bit more squeezed lemonade here to just soften out the colors and just make them blend in a little bit more. Now look what a difference that made, just adding that little bit of extra dark color. And you think, ooh, yeah, not bad. Right, so for our third yellow orangey balloon, we have used what's left of the mustard seed. And now we've gone in with wild honey to give the first bit of shape to the balloon. And then we're going to finish off with a bit of carved pumpkin to really just bring it home and make it stand out. The one thing that I like when I'm doing these balloons is that I like it, all of them to have slightly different shapes. Well, not shapes, but, you know, slightly different colors to make them look individual. And I do really like these time lapses. Yeah, when you do this in real life, you think, oh, this is taking forever. And then you see it sped up, you're like, oh yeah, I like that. Or maybe that's just me. Now, I started doing this thing here where instead of dabbing off the excess color on my work mat and then hence rubbing it off and wasting it, I've started dabbing it off on the lid on my ink pads. I thought maybe I might be able to like reactivate that later and use it, or even if there's something that needs just a light coat of color, I can use that instead of dipping my brush in the ink pad itself. We'll see how that works out. But now let's just look at the difference in the color that that's made. You know, just you see the shape, you can almost like touch it and so see the balloon being round, like inflated, rather than just like 2D. Apparently not quite 3D enough, so we are adding even more color here. I do find as well that it's the ink kind of fades as it dries a little bit when you use the distress oxides. So don't rush this process. Just do it, let it sit for a bit, and then go back and look if maybe you need a little bit more color. But yeah, look at that. Aren't they fun? They almost glow. They pop. My husband says I overuse that expression, but I like it. Right, so I've gone ahead here and I've actually covered almost the entire panel, and I'm down to my last few balloons, which are blue. I love this color. Blue is my favorite color, and out of all of the Distress Oxide, having issue talking again. Out of all the Distress Oxide inks, Salty Ocean is my favorite. I love it. Look how beautiful that is. And there we have it. Right, so we are just going to finish off this balloon. And I think we are also adding a little bit more to a second one, which is slightly lower down on this panel. Yeah, there it is. Right, so we're going to finish this one off, and then we're going to have a look and see what else needs doing. And as you can see, I've also used a lot of scrap pieces of paper. Now, as you go along, you're going to want to protect the work that you've already done, because even though it's just paper, waste, especially crafty waste, is so annoying and nobody wants that, right? So cover up your ink blending as you go along. You will thank me later. But this is the moment of the reveal, which is the best part of ink blending. I love this part. There we have it. Okay, so again, I'm tooting my own horn, but doesn't that look fabulous? And it's so nice that all the balloons have got slightly different like characteristics and colors, and it just makes it look so much fun. But however, I wasn't happy with the lack of color at the top there, so I'm going to quickly go in with my greens again and just make or add 2 more balloons and make them really quite dark. So first we're going to do a little bit of Twisted Citron, and then we're going to go in with lots and lots of Mowed Lawn to make them really dark and stand out from the other 2 green ones that we have already done. Now we're nearing the end of what I'm allowed to post on YouTube, so thank you so much for stopping by today, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so. And if you already have, yay, thank you so much. So then that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a great rest of the weekend. Oh, and everything I've used is linked below with affiliate links, which of course doesn't cost you anything extra at all.